Okay, this is the notes for worksheet 12-5. These are the two formulas that we use. The first one just says that the measure of an angle formed by two chords that intersect inside a circle is half the sum of the intercepted arcs. So the measure of this angle right here, angle 1, you add together, find the sum of x and y, and then divide it by 2, and that's what this is. Or you can multiply the angle by 2, and that's what the sum of these two are. That's the first formula. The second one deals with secants and tangents to a circle. If you have two secants, two lines that start from a point outside and go through the circle, like this example, it creates these two intercepted arcs, this one x and this one y. This angle out here then is half of the difference between these two arcs. So the one farthest away minus the one closest. Here's the formula for it right here. If you had a secant and a tangent, it's again the same thing. Measure this angle out here is half of the farthest arc from here to there minus the part of it closest to you. So 1/2 of x minus y. For this one over here, when you got two tangents, it's the same thing. It's the farthest arc minus the closest arc, and then half of it. And that's what the measure of that angle is. So let's look at a couple examples of it. So here we have two chords that intersect inside the circle. That means that the measure of this angle is half of what I get when I add 88 plus 86. So the measure of angle x is 1/2 of 88 plus 86, which if you work that out is equal to 87 degrees. And that's your answer. Okay? Here's an example of two secants that intersect the circle. And so the measure of this angle is half of the difference, the farthest arc, this part right here, minus the closest part, this part right here. So the measure of angle x, again, is going to be 90 minus 20, and then I divide that by 2, or take half of it. And if you work that out, x then is going to be 35 degrees. Here's a secant and a tangent. And so again, the measure of this angle is the farthest arc. So that's from there clear around to there, 150, minus the closest arc, which is this one. So measure of angle x is going to be 1/2 of 150 minus 60, which is 1/2 of 90, which is 45 degrees. And that's your answer. Okay? The only other case there is a case like this, where it's two tangents. And this one's a little different in the fact that we don't know either one of these arcs. What we do know is if this was x, this out here, let's say for instance this was 100. So we had a circle where this part, this much of it was 100. We know that there's 360 degrees all the way around a circle. So from there to there is 100. The rest of this then, to find that, I would go 360 minus 100, or 260. So in this case it's x, so this part right here is going to be 360 minus x. So now if we want to find this angle, the measure of the angle is 1/2 of the farthest arc, the farthest arc minus the closest arc, which is x. And now it's a matter of solving, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 2, and I get 120 equals 360 minus 2x. solving this for x, you minus 360 and I get negative 240 equals minus 2x. So x equals 120. All right. That pretty much is what happens for these problems. It's just using those two formulas and those two ideas. So if it's two chords inside, that angle right there is half of the sum. If the angle's outside, it's the farthest arc minus the closest arc divided by 2, or half of it. Let me know if you need any more help.